The D2 is also called the horror chart and shows our ability to build the resources we need to have a fulfilling life. So now let's analyze this person's chart and their moon dasha. And let's start here with the D1 to get a general idea about their life in the moon dasha. So moon here rules the third house of communication, business, making effort, taking initiative towards making money. Right? The third rules the second from the second and has a natural wealth agenda. So now we know during their moon dasha that this person is going to be busy to build the wealth they need to live a satisfying life. The moon here also rules the fourth house of home and emotional foundation, and that indicates that the person will be striving in their moon dasha to build a nourishing and comforting home environment. Right? The moon itself is a gentle planet and seeks an environment where it can feel safe and fulfilled. Now, is it going to be easy for them during moon dasha to create such a home environment and to be financially successful? Well, when we look at the moon, we can see that the moon is aspected mostly by malefic planets and separators. And so the moon dasha will be difficult. Right? The moon is here separated by Rahu, who creates confusion and an inability to know what they need to feel secure and happy. Right? Their heart is not in a position to welcome and embrace the beautiful things in life. The moon is also here separated by Saturn, another separator, who increases inattention and worry, right? Which will also impact their finances negatively. The moon is also aspected by the sun, and together with Saturn and Rahu's malefic influence, this will cause self-esteem issues and problem with authorities. And the Mars here adds frustration and anger and exacerbates problems related to money. And so we can see that Mercury is the only help for the moon. Mercury is strong in its own sign and able to manifest sufficient wealth to pay bills and make sure that they don't end up completely broke. But moon dasha is going to be a very challenging period, both financially and emotionally. But luckily here, Mercury will prevent the worst from happening and help this person, find job opportunities and also give them the ability to learn new skills if necessary. But moon dasha was tough for them. They barely got by, particularly the beginning part of moon dasha was really difficult because this is when the most difficult antardashas were happening. In fact, they didn't achieve anything significant during the entire 10 years of moon dasha. The D1 represents our potential and destiny, and so here the moon is severely afflicted and couldn't manifest any stability in their life. They didn't get married, they just worked hard whenever they had a job, and they felt that life was just full of problems. And when they came home, they couldn't find a place that could give them some relief. They couldn't relax at home. They couldn't, when they went to bed, close their eyes peacefully. And so all in all, it was a very stressful period without any noteworthy achievements. So now let's have a look at the D2 and see how the moon is doing there. Well, we can see a very similar picture. First of all, the moon rules the third house, but is placed now in the second house. And of course, the moon is the karaka of the D2. And it is aspected by the same planets. Okay, so it is under the same malefic, disruptive, influence. And so right away we know that Moon Dasha will be a very difficult financial period. And it is again only Mercury that can help out here the Moon. So let's get started here with Moon Dasha. So this was a period of financial struggle. The Moon year is not in great dignity. It is just in a natural friend sign, so it is not awake and it cannot manifest greater wealth, but at least it can maintain the financial situation. Moon Mars, well, we can see here Mars is aspecting the Moon, but it is not a manifestor. In fact, it will increase the frustration due to the lack of financial progress. But at least it is in a natural friend sign and it won't cause any sort of bigger problems. Now, Moon Rahu, this is one of the tougher periods financially in the Moon Dasha, because of course Rahu is a big separator. And so here, aspecting the Moon, it caused unexpected expenses and just increased financial stress. And so here, Rahu as a separator can always cause unexpected financial challenges. Now, Moon Jupiter, well, Moon Jupiter didn't improve their financial situation. Jupiter is a manifestor, but it is not directly connected to the Moon, okay? And so nothing significantly really improved with regards to their finances during this time. Moon Saturn, again, this was one of their toughest periods financially. Okay, because Saturn is aspecting the Moon. But then finally we come to Moon Mercury, and that was the turning point during Moon Dasha, right? When people are in a difficult dasha, you can always point to the best antardashas that can give them support and relief. And so for this person, the worst time of Moon Dasha came to an end when Moon Mercury started. Moon, first of all, is ruled by Mercury. And so Mercury here is the Lord of the Moon, and it is also a natural manifestor, and was able to elevate their position to the point of having financial security, which they also maintained for the remainder of Moon Dasha. And they felt great relief and were thankful that finally their hard work paid off. Now, all the antardashas that followed don't show like any sign of sort of great trouble. Moon Ketu here continues the theme of Moon Mercury, right? Because Ketu here gives the results of Mercury, and so the sense of financial stability continued. Next came Moon Venus, and this also was not an important time for money because Venus is not connected here to the Moon, and so nothing really changed during this time. And then came Moon Mars, and Moon Mars also didn't really cause any major financial difficulties. And so all in all, in a dasha where the dasha lord has mostly separators and malefics influencing it, as in this case, you can always look for that good antardasha, which will help them catch up. And hopefully afterwards there are no significant adverse influences that could make them go backwards again.